Hello and welcome to Granada Reports. We are live across the northwest. On the programme this evening, a bitter blow for the campaign to get justice for the 50 people who died in the Summerland Fire. The Isle of Man's Attorney General has said no to new inquests.
The pursuit for justice goes on as far as our campaign is concerned. We need answers. For 51 years we have waited for answers.
The prison governor who's now behind bars. The moment Kerry Pegg was arrested for having an illicit affair with a gangland inmate who bought her a Mercedes as a gift. Wembley, here we come. City's men and United's women are hoping for a Manchester double in the FA Cup.
West will be best for the sunshine over the weekend, so I hope you're flying high and you've got that Friday feeling like these three. I'll be back with all the details shortly.
And I'm here at Goodison Park, the home of Everton Football Club, where it's almost time to say goodbye to this grand old lady. We'll be taking a look back at more than 100 years of history and memories of this amazing old stadium. The women's team will be moving in to make new memories, but tonight, for the men's team at least, we're saying goodbye to Goodison. Join me later.
So first, and tonight we can exclusively reveal that the survivors of the Summerland Fire on the Isle of Man, in which 50 people died, have been dealt a bitter blow. The island's Attorney General has turned down a request from the Justice for Summerland campaign to hold new inquests. The campaign wanted the original inquest verdict of misadventure to be quashed. Our Isle of Man reporter, Joshua Stokes, has more.
Like so many caught in the Summerland Fire, it's taken decades for Jackie Hallam to speak about that fateful night.
And then the fireballs started coming down from the ceiling. And it was just raining fire.
And the heat is starting to build up even as I speak to you right now. It looks as if there's no hope for Summerland, without a shadow of a doubt.
But since sharing her story, many more survivors and bereaved families have found the strength to come forward, forming a campaign to overturn the misadventure verdict placed on the 50 people who died. A ruling that left survivors feeling the blame was placed firmly on the victims. But after writing to the island's Attorney General, the calls for a new inquest have been denied.
The Chief Minister has claimed that it was time to look Summerland squarely in the face, and they've chosen not to do so. The Isle of Man has said no, and this is it's a deplorable decision in our view.
Writing to the campaign's lawyer, the Attorney General said he was unable to grant a new inquest due to a lack of fresh evidence. He added the families may have misunderstood the meaning of misadventure, saying the legal definition does not place blame on the victims. And he concluded the original inquest in 1974 was sufficient in finding the facts. A decision disputed by supporters in Westminster.
I'm extremely disappointed and gutted for the families and survivors who we've met. We've got constituents who've been involved, and for them not to get truth, justice and transparency is really, really sickening. I'm really so disappointed in that decision today.
What is your message to the Isle of Man Attorney General?
Rethink the decision and give the families and survivors the truth and transparency and the justice they deserve.
The campaign represents over 30 of those who died in the blaze, all intent on seeking justice for their loved ones, whatever it takes.
While we might be deeply disappointed with this decision, it is the perfect driver for us to continue our campaign. This does not end here. We will be challenging this decision, and the pursuit for justice goes on as far as our campaign is concerned. We need answers.
But here on the Isle of Man, the answer is no. A stance that sends out a clear message across the Irish Sea as the families now prepare to travel to the High Court in London, determined to fight on. Joshua Stokes, ITV News, Douglas.
Well, next, and the former governor of Kirkham Prison in Lancashire, who had an illicit relationship with an inmate, has been jailed for 9 years. Kerry Pegg denied having an affair with gangland boss Anthony Saunderson while he was a prisoner at the jail. Our reporter Tasha Kachiri reports.
Females coming to the door now.
The first time officers knocked on Kerry Pegg's door, this Mercedes was parked on the drive, gifted to her by a convicted drug dealer, paid for by crime. Pegg was a governor at HMP Kirkham, a rising star in the service, but behind the gates she was forming a relationship with Anthony Saunderson, an inmate serving time for drugs. She even approved his temporary release from prison. Later, police cracked encrypted chats naming Pegg as his girlfriend.
The fact that Kerry was a prison governor really raised the stakes in this case, because every prison officer and member of staff that works in a prison is aware of a set of professional standards of behaviour that they have to adhere to around inappropriate relationships with prisoners, serving prisoners and previous prisoners. So the fact that this prison governor has gone beyond those lines that have been set in terms of standards of behaviour is of the utmost seriousness.
At Pegg's home, police found a burner phone, a toothbrush and flip-flops with Saunderson's DNA.
Well, I actually know Kerry Pegg because she was a governor at Liverpool where I work. And it was clear to me that she hasn't got the strength of character to say no to prisoners. She was constantly undermining staff decisions. And now it's been proven that she's actually corrupt. So that doesn't really surprise me. I think this is a case of a bad apple who hasn't got the strength of character to hold the position of a governor grade and has just been succumbed to a very experienced criminal.
At Preston Crown Court, Pegg was found guilty of misconduct in a public office and owning criminal property. She never declared the relationship or the debts she was drowning in, including county court judgments, something she was required to do by law. Kerry Pegg has been sentenced to 9 years in prison. Judge Graham Knowles told her that she'd betrayed the public's trust and betrayed the prison service. Saunderson is now back behind bars, serving 35 years for drug and firearms offences. For Kerry Pegg, police hope that her sentence acts as a warning.
The fact that she's been sentenced today and the severity of the sentence that's been passed sends a real clear message that corruption is unacceptable and that law enforcement, along with HMPPS colleagues, won't stop until we eradicate it from the prison service.
Tasha Kachiri, ITV News, Preston.
A 33-year-old man who was shot by police in Huyton has now been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Police were called to Tubbrook Road in Huyton on Wednesday after reports of a double stabbing in a back garden. A woman in her 50s remains in hospital where her condition is described as stable. R&B singer Chris Brown has been remanded in custody after appearing at Manchester Magistrates Court. The American musician was arrested at the Lowry Hotel earlier this week. He's charged with GBH after an alleged incident at a nightclub in London 2 years ago. Well, it's a huge sporting weekend. Not only is it Everton's farewell to Goodison, but there are 2 FA Cup finals to look forward to. Tomorrow, Manchester City take on Crystal Palace in the men's final. Then on Sunday, Manchester United face Chelsea in the women's final. Here's my call.
Two years ago, Manchester City lifted the FA Cup as part of a famous treble. Now their whole season rests on it. To avoid a first trophyless campaign in 8 years, they must beat Crystal Palace at Wembley tomorrow.
It's a trophy, so it's really important to hopefully win it, City, even before I came here, the standards they've been putting up has been ridiculous, and so we're going to do everything we can to finish good, finish strong.
He's given that away to O'Reilly, and that's released Marmouche, and City are in front.
Obviously, it's very, very nice to be in the final. Only after a couple of months here, it would be nice if we win the final and secure a spot in the Champions League. Then at least we have a positive thing to look at and look back at in this season.
The Cup remains a big deal, a really big deal. This giant version of the trophy has been at the Fight Factory boxing gym, just round the corner from the Etihad, and will be displayed outside City's Wembley changing room. Club hero Sean Wright-Phillips brought the real trophy too, and he's backing the Blues to bring it home.
It'll be magical. I've had a chance to meet the players, be away with them, and I've seen them in pre-season friendlies, and they hate losing those. They hate conceding goals in there. So to achieve this will be just as important as winning every other trophy they've got.
Have you written on the trophy?
Yeah, I have.
What did you write?
MCSC is the best.
What's it like to see the FA Cup up close like that?
It was so impressive just knowing that we might actually win that.
The Women's FA Cup's been on a visit too to the Co-op Academy North Manchester, where pupils wrote messages for Manchester United's women ahead of Sunday's final against Chelsea. Hannah Blundell was part of the United team that lifted the cup last season.
Oh, it'd be fantastic to actually see that the kids have gone out their way to write heartfelt messages. For the girls being able to see that when they walk out, I think it'd be such a nice moment for them.
Oh, I was really starstruck. Like, it was really crazy that she's been able to come to the school and meet all of us.
I really wanted to see it in person, the cup in person, for a long time, and I'm happy that my dream's coming true.
Would it be fair to say that when you are made the captain, you allow yourself to dream a little bit about maybe lifting the FA Cup at Wembley later in the season?
Oh yeah, for sure. I love the FA Cup. Oh, I mean everything, yeah. Honestly, last season was incredible. I think I keep saying it, but it was like one of the best days of my life, just lifting it with all my family there, and hopefully we can take all that experience and win this one as well.
This is one of those days when all the family and friends no doubt will be descending on Wembley. Who's going to be there representing you?
Yeah, I think I've got like 25 to 30 people coming down, all of my family. Yeah, it's a big day out for them. I'm sure they'll enjoy it, and it's just about enjoying their moments and making them proud.
It's a weekend when Manchester descends on the capital, when the Reds and Blues can both be winners. Mike Hall, ITV News, Manchester.
Yeah, the perfect time to say goodbye from the studio here. We're going to stay with the football theme and go live to Goodison Park, where we can join Kate in. Casey, I guess a real jumble of emotions for Everton fans.
Oh yeah, it certainly is, Gamal. Sad at saying goodbye to Goodison. Happy that the women's team is staying here. Optimism about moving to that amazing new stadium at Bramley Moor Dock next season. So yeah, a real mixed bag of emotions. And at 12 o'clock on Sunday, Everton will kick off their last ever men's match here against Southampton. Fans hope there'll be cheers. Of course, they want to sign off their last match with a win here, but there'll also definitely be tears. So tonight, we're looking back at more than 130 years of history on this hallowed turf. David Chisnell looks at how Everton have prepared for the big move.
Goodison Park is a stadium adorned with history. And after this weekend, Everton's men's time here will be confined to history, with just one final game at their famous home ground.
It's great history. There's some great stories, and obviously there's been great managers and players who've all performed here. So I'm just the one who's going to shut the door on the way out.
Ahead of the game, all around Goodison, residents are planning for a farewell party.
We're going to have a big street party, trying to get up onto Castle and get everyone involved to say our goodbyes.
I just think it's going to be very emotional for everyone. It's just going to be hard to adjust.
This day is for everybody, every Evertonian.
Katie Carter is a lifelong Evertonian, and she'll be among the supporters gathering at Goodison early on Sunday to welcome the team coach and be part of the historic day.
You're just going to see blue smoke everywhere, I think, confetti, flags, thousands of people everywhere. It's going to be a special, special day.
How emotional is this going to be for you?
Cried all week already.
Well, while the men's team are moving out, the women's team will be moving in. And even with plans to reduce Goodison's capacity, this week's announcement means the stadium will become the largest in the country dedicated to women's football.
It's bold. I think it's not without its risks and without its challenges, but I think it's the type of move that really has the potential to unlock the women's game, not just for Everton, not just in the city of Liverpool, but nationally as well.
The decision to keep the stadium by the American owners, the Friedkin Group, means previous plans to bulldoze Goodison and replace it with an £80 million regeneration project have been scrapped.
Is Goodison staying good for the community? Is it the right thing for the community, though?
I think it could be great for the community, and obviously we're yet to see the detailed plans, but the concept of having women's football there and then a lot of other ancillary services, so for instance the free school, stuff around women's businesses and women's refuge, all of those brilliant things all coming together in one particular stadium.
Do you need any bread today? This weekly food pantry is just one of more than 60 projects run by Everton in the community, and the club's charity will now benefit from Goodison remaining.
We were always staying anyway. You've invested 13 million just in the shadows of Goodison Park. So the intention was always to expand within Goodison. It's even more exciting now that we're staying to have the women play there, which is going to be absolutely amazing for our women and girls strategy.
The Winslow pub sits proudly alongside Goodison, and while keeping football at the stadium is a relief, there's uncertainty around the future, with match days making up 90% of their business.
It's not the same as the men's football, but I mean for turnover and for attendances, but it's good to keep Goodison alive. We're going to run coaches down to Bramley-Moore for the next season. If we don't do anything, we're going to be dead in the water. We have to try.
Everton's Heritage Society has run from the nearby St Luke's Church, but they, like the men's team, will be moving to Bramley-Moore Dock.
To leave the place that I've been going for nearly 54 years is words can't say.
Goodison will be a sea of emotional Evertonians come Sunday, with the end of an era and the start of a new one. David Chisnell, ITV News, Goodison.
Yeah, it's going to be so emotional here on Sunday, and all the fans will get one of these, a very special last match memento. And, you know, whenever you leave a home that you've known and loved, you take with you your memories, don't you? And this place is certainly full of them. You know, as a lifelong Blue myself, I've seen my fair share of ups and downs. And in fact, my mum was actually one of the first women to police a football match back in the 70s. And it was right here at Goodison. Well, Chris Hall takes a look back through the eyes of some fans and former Everton greats.
Roars and rattles of the Merseyside greet the Everton attacks.
For 133 years, it's been the wonder of Walton, the lifeblood of Liverpool's Blue Bloods.
Iconic. The grand old lady is iconic.
For many Evertonians, the 1985 European Cup Winners' Cup semi-final was Goodison Park at its peak.
It still brings goose pimples to me. I think it was about 50,000 odd. You know, they were on the St Hugh's chairs to roof, and it was just unbelievable. It was like a wave. You could cut it. You could cut the atmosphere. It was that good. And it's just sensational.
It led to their only European trophy, but here they also cheered 8 championships and 5 FA Cups. A pioneer of pitches, the first to be visited by a reigning monarch in King George, and the first English ground with undersoil heating and managers' dugouts. Goodison Park even thrived when Everton simply survived.
1994, last game of the season, Wimbledon here. You needed to win to stay up.
Yeah.
Must have been incredible.
It was incredible. In the 81st minute, I play a little 1-2 with Tony Cottee, and it was more of like a block tackle back into the net, 3-2. The crowd goes absolutely crazy. Even these boys here, even the ground staff, and everybody just went absolutely ballistic. It went from being potentially a disastrous day to a day that nobody's ever forgotten about.
So, fans have been flocking to this place since 1892, and after watching 2,791 Everton matches, the fans have grown rather attached to their own little piece of this club's history.
Excuse me, mate, you're in my seat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Paul has been enjoying this view for more than 60 years, so he, like thousands more, is buying his seat.
It means so much. It means everything. On my right here, I've got Kieran and Sean, who've been sat next to us for a long time now. My son Mark sits there, my wife Janice sits there, John and his family sit there to the left. And I'm really going to miss that sense of community when we leave. I would struggle to adjust to normal life if I couldn't sit in this seat in my back garden.
East met West at Goodison Park.
They had no trouble selling seats here for 5 World Cup matches in 1966. Goodison Park hosting Eusebio, Lev Yashin and Pele. And it was where Everton's own heroes honed their craft, from Kendall, Ball and Royal to Lineker and Rooney. No more Liverpudlian boys will be granted their Goodison dream.
When I was 9 years of age, when I joined Everton, there was talk about a new stadium then, so it's 30 years down the line.
Are you an emotional guy? Will there be a tear in the eye when they leave?
I don't know. I think it's been part of my life massively, from going to watch as a fan to playing there. But I think we all know that it's probably the right time.
Not even Rooney could match the undisputed king of Goodison Park.
William Ralph Dean, the one and only Dixie.
Dixie Dean's 60 goals in a season, still an English record.
And Dixie is happy at another sport, boxing.
Boxing took centre stage on the centre circle for proud Evertonian Tony Bellew's cruiserweight coronation. while Rocky himself caught a game and turned the stadium into a movie set where he learned some unfamiliar lines.
The Toffees all sound the savvy.
That means Everton are great this afternoon.
Not bad.
Celebrities have always gone gaga for Goodison.
My family were born in Everton. I'm trying to get a piece of grass. I want a bit of the pitch, because once I ran onto the pitch and I nicked a corner post. Security just turned a blind eye and I was like that.
I love Goodison Park. Everybody always talks about the atmosphere at Goodison, especially on a nighttime game. New ground coming up. Hopefully it's the start of a new dawn for us where we can all look for some positivity, some great results and find ourselves back where we want to be.
This glorious stage now passes to Everton's women, who hope to write a fitting epilogue to the story of the grand old lady. Chris Hall, ITV News, Goodison Park.
Yeah, I think all Everton fans are hoping for a new dawn and some better results. Well, I'm delighted to say that I'm now joined by Everton legend Derek Temple and also Sarah Trigg from the Everton Fans Forum and the Everton Fan Advisory Board. Sarah, I'll start with you. We got the news earlier this week, didn't we, that Goodison has survived, the women's team are moving in. How do you and other fans feel about that?
I think it's absolutely fantastic news for the women to be able to come into this great stadium, and essentially after the game on Sunday the men's team are going to be handing over the baton to the women's team to continue the legacy of Goodison Park.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We talk about legacy. Derek, you've lived out every young boy's dream of becoming a footballer. You know, you started here as an apprentice, then you worked as a groundsman, and then you went on to score the winning goal in the 1966 FA Cup final. I mean, incredible memories. What's been your favourite from here at Goodison?
Well, there was quite a lot actually, but probably I only ever scored one hat-trick in my career, and that was here against Ipswich in, I think it was 1964, when Ipswich actually won the championship, or the League One as it was then. So that goes down as probably my favourite personal memory. By the way, I didn't get the ball, I don't know why, but...
An outrage.
It was terrible.
Derek, what is it that makes Goodison so special?
Well, I have to say it's the spectators. I mean, we have a fantastic crowd, and when, you know, I mean, we were on a bonus of £1 1,000 over 35,000. And if we got 50,000, it was a bad day, you know, so we were making decent money then. And the crowd were like the 12th man. When we played here, it was like a fortress. We didn't lose many games here. I can't remember losing one, actually, but we probably did.
We need some of that at Bramley Moor. And, you know, talking about Bramley Moor, do you think they'll be able to replicate the atmosphere that we've got here over there?
I'm pretty certain that will happen. I mean, it's great that we've got David Moyes back. You know, he's the right man, I think, for the job. And I mean, we can tell by the way he started now. And if they can make Bramley Moor a fortress, it'll be wonderful. Because I mean, I think in the winter they won't be expecting it to be a bit cold, which it might be there. So.
With that breeze off the Mersey.
Yes.
Sarah, how will you feel on Sunday, especially when that final whistle blows?
I think there's going to be a mixture of emotions. I would like to say I won't get upset, but I probably will. I think, like lots of Evertonians across the country that coming in on Sunday, they'll have grown up coming here they'll have had that passed down through family generations, and it'll be a real momentous occasion, but also the excitement of giving Goodison such a great send-off and then what's coming in the future with the new stadium.
Oh, Sarah, there's going to be so many tears, isn't there? Sarah, Derek, thank you so much for your time. And so a few last words from one of the great cathedrals of English football. Fans have been flocking here to Goodison for 133 years now, this place. You know, absolutely echoes with history, the roar of the crowd, the rattle of the seats, you know, the names of heroes like Dixie Dean, Alan Ball, Howard Kendall, Neville Southall, you know, but on Sunday afternoon, this grand old lady will finally bow out for the men's men's team at least. You know, Everton, the People's Club, will take their people to that amazing new home at Bramley Moor Dock, which we can reveal will be called Hill Dickinson Stadium. You heard it here first. Hopefully their new memories will be named. But from everyone here at Goodison, good night and thanks for watching.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there, very good evening to you. Hope you're enjoying the day and ready for the weekend. And my goodness, it looks like it is going to be a fine one. I hate to use cliches, but definitely best in the west over the next couple of days, and it looks like we won't see any significant breakdown really until next weekend. But of course that's a bank holiday weekend. Well, of course it would be, just in time, but more on that nearer the time. For now it's the same old story, high pressure in charge, but it's up to the north of the UK. The winds rotate clockwise around a high, which is dragging a lot of cloud in from off the North Sea, now mainly affecting the east coast of England, but some of that may lap across and reach parts of our region tonight. But more on that, as I say, in just a sec. So for the time being, some good late sunshine on offer. You can see that cloud slowly encroaching and pushing across. I think the Isle of Man will stay cloud-free overnight tonight. However, elsewhere could be some mist and fog over higher ground and possibly a spit of drizzle out of any thicker cloud over the hills as well. Temperatures holding it well and the winds easing back. Into tomorrow, the sun's up about 5+5 in the morning, 5:06 to be precise. And as you'd expect, it's going to be pretty cloudy for many parts of northwest England, but the Isle of Man, some good sunshine. There's a question mark over how quickly that cloud is going to burn back to the east coast and therefore clear our patch during the day. But potentially we could get up to 20 Celsius if it clears quick enough, and that is of course 68 Fahrenheit. But then overnight into Sunday, again the cloud starts to fill back in again, pushing westwards, and then we see a little bit of a cloudy start for some parts of the region on Sunday, but largely it's going to be dry, fine, warm and sunny once again. There could be a bit of a breeze, a noticeable breeze, but a gentle breeze, and after that the dry trend continues. So that's your weather. You're fully up to date. Here's your pollen.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
So then we are transitioning from tree pollen to grass pollen. So tree pollen counts are low over the next few days, but if you're sensitive to grass pollen, I think you'll be starting to feel it. That's the way it's looking. Catch you later. Bye-bye.